Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the second day of the 2012 Naval Academy Leadership Conference. Please join me in welcoming the Commandant of Midshipman, Captain Robert E. Clark, to the stage.
Thank you again for you being here and participating. Today, I thought it'd be a little bit of a different twist. The boss came in yesterday and welcomed you. I could welcome you again, but then it would kind of seem like Groundhog Day after a while. So I'm going to challenge you. And this is a slide that I put up for our midshipmen. And I say that because hopefully you feel part of the family now that you're here. And we've had some great presentations. I hope they've generated a lot of thought, really made you think. Guy came up here yesterday and talked about business and technology, but there's leadership parallels there. Last night you heard General Mattis, a warrior's warrior, talk to you about what it means to command during a time of strife and conflict. That's leadership. Looking at your lives right now, which is just at the start, as you study for an exam, as you make decisions out in town. Do I do this? Do I do that? Do I put my effort here? Where do I want to be 4 or 5 years from now? That's leadership in its infancy. Now, one of the things our midshipmen hear a lot is potential for excellence. And I truly believe in that. And the conference is visionary leadership through uncharted waters. Well, shipmates, and that's what I view you as, shipmates. Shipmates in life. That's the crux of leadership. Because bad leadership can be hidden in good times. It's easy to be a bad leader when things are going fantastic and it's going your way and there's easy and it's charted waters and you've got a recipe to get through there because you've been turned over. But bad leadership in tough times is a recipe for disaster. So potential for excellence. It resides in every one of us. Every one of us in this room has a potential for excellence. But what differentiates me from you or you from her is who is willing to sacrifice, endure, and focus to reach not only your potential, but the collective potential of your unit, your school, your generation. So while you're here, what are your goals? And how will you improve? How will you be better for having attended this? What type of questions will you ask? What type of enlightenment will you come forth with? Because I'm sure Buddy's was a great time. I know the food last night, the cookies, I ate more than I needed to, that's for sure. But what are you going to take back to your schools? But more importantly, what are you going to take forward to your lives and those that you work with? Responsibility and accountability are a very important thing. Not only personal, but group. As young adults, you will be held accountable for your actions, but more importantly, as leaders, you'll be held accountable for those around you. And those around you will reinforce what you do. And it's important to keep a long view. You're not managers. Your job is not to finish the formula. Your job is not to execute a puzzle that's been put before you. As leaders, whether it's in uniform, whether it's in civilian sector, whether it's in medicine, whether it's in life, is to have that long view, that vision. Challenge things. Have a questioning attitude. How do I improve? Because at the end of the day, if in your capacity, in your life, in your school, when you go back, if you do not make things better both professionally and personally, if you do not remove barriers, if you do not create a better path, if you do not allow those who are around you to look at obstacles as opportunities, things to learn from and improve, if 5 years from now, your roommate, your classmate, your corporal aren't better people, professionals, and I'll use the word warrior, because that doesn't just apply to the military. That's a way you live your life. That's a fighting spirit where you wake up each and every day with a burning desire to improve. So if those around you don't improve personally, professionally, and warrior, so what good was it to have you in their lives? Are you truly a leader? Are you trying to improve others? Or are you just trying to improve yourself? You know, I used to tell when I was Commodore, before coming back home here as Commandant, I was Commodore of Submarine Squadron 4, and I had the privilege to have 8 submarines within my command. And I learned and led from the best sailors in the world. And I used to tell my commanding officers, the only fitness report, the only evaluation, the only thing from a civilian side that we would write on somebody that would help them promote, the only one that would matter if I were king was one that I would write on my commanding officer 6 months after they left that command. Because if that command was doing everything great, if they were firing on all cylinders, if they had a trajectory like that Tomahawk missile straight up, and they left, and that command tanked or went down, what kind of leaders were they? Did they train those that came before them, or after them, or with them? Did they make their situation and their warriors better people and professionals for them being there? Or did they do everything themselves? Because as you go through life, whether it's in the civilian sector, whether it's in the military, whether it's in medicine, whether you're a mother and father, whether you're a farmer in West Virginia, the people, the souls that you have the capability to touch and inspire, some of you someday, your children, those are the messages that we send into the future. Those are the messages that we put forth to history that we may or may not be around to tweak after a while. What's the message you want to have sent about your generation? How are you training those that come after you? Have you thought about that? No, I haven't, Commandant, because I'm just in college. I'm not in a job. Sure you are. It's kind of like I used to tell my sons when they were little, you always want to be a green apple, because a green apple's always growing. And you're in the stage right now where you're growing and you're learning, you're taking it in. But a green apple also gives off. A green apple also contributes, as do you. Contribute to those around you. Because the second you think you know everything, the second you don't think there's things to learn in life or to give back, you become a red apple. And you fall from that tree and you rot away. And usually that was about the time my wife would hit me in the back of the head as I told the kids that the worms would eat them. And she reminded me they were 5 and 6 years old, so we just moved on. But you want to be that shipmate. You want to be that leader. It's about other people's lives. But how do you make them realize it? I mean, the young man up here yesterday that asked about could Apple make it a gaming computer. What Guy was talking about had nothing to do with gaming computers or technology. He was talking about past. He was talking about being an enabler. He used technology as a metaphor, but being an enabler in life and leadership. Well, how do you do that? Because there's a fine line between speaking and communicating. I could talk all I want. I could talk to you like I am right now. I could put up this PowerPoint. I could hand out pamphlets. And I'll speak, and you'll listen. But if you're going to be a leader, if you're going to make a mark on the future, if you're going to put the stamp on that postcard you send into the future, you've got to communicate. Because unless you communicate, those around you will not hear. And if they won't hear, they won't change, they won't improve. I've been blessed. I've reached my potential in the submarine force. I've lived and learned with the finest warriors on this earth. I have literally stood on top of the world, and I've commanded some of our national treasures during time of war. And when I look at leadership, there's things in terms of fatal flaws. There's 10, and I can list them right now, and I can tell you about them, and you're right. I see a lot of people writing down, and you will. And you'll come away and go, wow, you know, Captain Bob Clark, Commandant, submarine guy, here's leadership. I didn't think of those that I would give to you, which I'm not. I learned it from other places. Here's another little secret for you. Leaders are readers. If you want to learn something new, read history. One of the best insights I was able to piece together or articulate in a written form, I got from a business journal. In fact, the 10 fatal flaws I kind of just referenced that I wasn't going to give you, go to Harvard Business Review, June 2009. There's a one-pager. And it's simple. Poor leaders lack enthusiasm. They don't appreciate change. They don't walk the walk. They don't train others. It's kind of motherhood and apple pie, right? I mean, of course they do. But the interesting thing is when you ask those leaders in a survey, they rate themselves very high, when in fact they're actually very low. So it goes back to what Guy said the other day. Are you hungry? Are you looking to improve each and every day? Not just yourself, but others around you. And the bottom line, whether you're wearing the cloth of our nation, whether you're wearing a business suit, whether you're wearing a white shirt in a medical room, is your integrity. Are you doing the right thing? Sometimes it's not the easy thing. Sometimes it will cause personal or professional pain. But that's a very near-term, immediate gratification kind of symptom, kind of feeling. But if you do what's right, if you do what's true, it's very enduring because it rubs off on others. You now become this inspiration. You now empower others through your act. You are now communicating. Don't ever compromise your integrity. In business, in the military, in your life. Besides your name, that's the only thing that no one can take away from you. That's something that you have to give up. Guard it with your life. So again, as you leave here in the next day or so, as you go back to your schools, your lives, most importantly, your future, which just as importantly is our future. You know, I tell people when they listen, there's a lot of discussion about our national soul. A lot of discussion about the future of the United States. And I used to tell people, if you have a question, spend a day here at the United States Naval Academy. And you'll realize that our national soul is bright. It is strong, and our future's in great hands. After spending a day with you all, I'll expand that. Spend a day with our nation's youth, you all, and our future's in great hands. And yes, you're going to be challenged, just like generations that have come before you. You're going to face challenges that you will think are mountains, but look at those obstacles as opportunities. Be confident in your abilities, be steadfast in your pursuit, and live your life to the fullest. But don't just live it. Be a proactive architect in defining it. And so as you continue through your conference, think about this. What is your legacy when you go back home? Because you were sent here for a reason. And you could write a lot of notes, eat a lot of crabs, meet a lot of people, and go on and go to the next day. But you wouldn't be reaching that potential for excellence that resides in you. And you certainly wouldn't be achieving that potential for excellence that resides in this group. Because remember, leadership and greatness are not defined by what you have done. True greatness, true leadership is reflected in the lives and the deeds of those that you educate, empower, and inspire to do the things that you left undone or were not capable of doing by yourself. You're here for a reason, and it's not for you. How will you impact somebody else's life when you leave here? How will you make your situation, your school, our country, our future better? That's leadership. And it's easy to hide the bad leadership in good times. I challenge you to ensure that your leadership is good leadership in the tough times. Our country depends on it. Thank you.